All right, welcome to the exercise module of today's Healthy You workshop. And this one is going to be, it follows the theme today, just on the foundationals. We talk about detoxification, and later on we're going to talk about nutrition on our foundationals. But with exercise foundationals, something that we've done for a long time, it really is we can hack exercise to do a lot of different things and stimulate a little different processes for the body. So where I'm gonna start right now is I first want to talk to you about two things: the movement system of the body and the stability system of the body. And we have to separate these two muscle systems. So where I do a lot of my work, and then Lauren will move into it, and she'll show you a lot of things today, but ultimately going into the movement system that we're going to talk about. The stability system of muscles are your deep core muscles. So these muscles in your body, let's just lay it out. They know nothing about strength. They are segmentally attachments, which means that they're going to attach from they're your one lever muscles. They're going to attach from one place to another. So they're not two lever muscles like your quads or your hamstrings. So they're very intricate muscles. They're stability muscles. They fire in anticipation of motion. So they're your posture muscles, which means that they don't have very much movement, but they segmentally stabilize a joint. So what you're going to show today, which I believe is, the movement centers that are primary to our stability, which are going to be the hips. We're also going to talk a lot about the ankles, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So these muscles, they segmentally stabilize. They're always active. If we're standing, you think of all the spinal muscles and the deep core muscles, because when we look at this, these are the deepest core muscles, and they line, or you look down at it, they line our spine, they line our joints, and they're always on. So when you attack this system, they're energy rich, okay? They require a lot of energy. So when you're turning these muscles on and activating these muscles, they utilize a lot of energy. So there is a lean body composition hack in that. So that's just what we're gonna talk in context today. And Lauren's going to talk about how we fire these muscles up. So both from just a wellness standpoint, but a rehabilitation standpoint, a sports performance standpoint, and I don't say weight loss, but a lean body composition standpoint. Because I've seen you work with athletes in here that just doing these things bags them.
Yeah.
So that's the stability system of muscles, very neurologically rich, very segmentally oriented. Do you have anything you want to piggyback on that?
Just overall from a functional standpoint, these types of things, especially just in general fitness, just going to the gym and seeing some people work out, or seeing some personal trainers work out their clients, and they're doing these big movements and they don't even have the ability to do a normal squat, yet they've got a bar on their back. And it's kind of frightening to see some of these things, and it's just in today's world where everyone's always sitting and hunched and we're like this, we don't have that posture to maintain, to go into the gym and do those types of things, unless we stay focused on these types of exercises where, eventually these become our warm-ups to our bigger movement exercises.
Yeah, and so that's what we're going to show you today, is how to use some of these simple exercises and implement them into your strategies, because as we've been doing these over the years, they just can accelerate you out of problems. They make you stronger. They make you feel better. They promote lean body composition. And just like you talked about, it's going to get you out of that kyphotic position, out of that fetal and hunch position. I think one of the biggest things I always see, just from the older patients and clients, they just feel much better. Yeah. And then from the athletes, it's the foundation for performance enhancement.
Right.
So cool. All right. So we're gonna cut out. We're gonna flip this thing around, and I am the demonstrator today, so that's why I've changed. And so Lauren's gonna coach me through some of these exercises that hopefully you can take home and start to implement very quickly.
Okay. All right. So we're back. I'm going to take Dr. Josh through some simple movement exercises. These are going to be non-weight bearing exercises, so very easy to do at home. If you're sitting around watching TV, go ahead and give some of these a try. Or, you know, you can always take yourself to a gym and do some of these exercises as well. So I have here, this is a Perform Better band, but you can buy something similar on Amazon, or I'm sure you can even go into like Target, into the fitness section to get something like that. It's just it's a big loop. This from the Perform Better, the green is like a medium resistance, so it's not the lightest and it's not the heaviest. So this is what we're going to use today. Right. So the first exercise I'm going to take Doc through is going to target your hips. So let's go ahead and slide that band onto your knees, around your knees there, and then we'll have you lay down on your side. So we'll just demonstrate one side, but this one you'll do on both sides. You're going to bend your legs, and then here we want to make sure our hips are rolled forward. We don't want our hips rolled back, because then we're not going to be targeting the muscle that we want. So roll forward. So we're going to be targeting our glute med specific in this exercise. So this muscle typically is the weakest in most people. So when I go through assessments, and the glute med, when I test that, that's the one that usually falls. Especially you find it in a lot of runners, but then just your average person who probably does a lot of sitting. So what we're going to do here is he's going to open up his knee towards that back wall and then back in. So typically a good number to start is anywhere from 8 to 10 reps. So we'll do this about 8 times, and then he would flip over to the other side. I'm not going to have him do it just for time purposes, but we'll do 8, and then you rest. We'll flip to the other side, do 8 on the other side, and then rest for about a minute or 2, and then you'll go through the motion 2 more times. So 3 sets, 8 reps is a good place to start.
The one thing that I want to point out too is less is more, meaning you don't need to be doing this thing. This is a muscle that contracts about that much. So you don't need to be flying that, like you said at the beginning, like don't open. So when Lauren works with people in here, she's really, really coaching them through. But if you're going to do this on your own, do them right. Meaning, don't do them wrong. Don't pull your whole body into this, because that's not segmental stabilization. You got to get there, and less is more, even if you're opening the hip, which most people will do at the beginning if these things aren't turned on. They're only going to get like 5 or 6 inches of movement out of that because it's just too difficult. So, yeah.
Tiny muscle.
Tiny muscle.
Don't need to recruit any of the larger muscles by opening up your hip. Next one we're going to do, let's have you lay on your back. Knees are going to be bent. This one's called a butterfly. So his feet are going to be together, and he's just going to open his legs just a little bit. Again, this is targeting the same muscle. Again, less is more, so we don't have to overstretch to the point where you're getting a pull in your groin. That's not really what we're aiming for. With this one, a nice little hold, maybe 2 or 3 seconds, and then slow and controlled on the way back. And that's another thing that I see is a lot of people, they'll get out here and then all of a sudden, they'll just snap everything together. You want to control that resistance on the way back in, nice and slow. If we let that collapse too fast, it kind of defeats the purpose. We're not getting that eccentric motion to help with the strengthening. So again, 8 reps to start off of 3 times. So go through a set of 8 and then rest for about a minute or 2 and then continue with the other sets. The next one that I'm going to have Doc do is go ahead and slide that band down to the bottom of your feet. This one is a little bit more advanced. So if you try this one and you know, maybe you have like a arch in your back or something's just not feeling right, let's just skip this one altogether. But this one is a little bit more advanced. Again, we're still targeting in our hips and then also a little bit in our core as well. Yeah, the one thing I want to piggyback on all that is that we have progressions and regressions off these, because we don't want anybody to be getting hurt while doing these, because everybody is in a different spot, whether you're coming in for rehab or performance enhancement. There's different things that people can do, but we're just showing you maybe ground zero before you have any regression or progression. Correct, but mostly all of these are safe. So he's gonna go ahead and lay back. He's gonna put his legs in the air about 90 degrees. So hips are at 90, knees are at 90. And then what he's gonna do is he's gonna keep his right foot still, and he's gonna push his left foot into that wall. And then nice, slow and controlled on the way back. So here he's engaging his core. There's no arch in his low back, so I can't fit my hand under here. If you find you're doing this and you're starting to get that arch or a pinch in your low back, we need to start to get you to turn your hips back so we can get that flat surface connecting with the table. Again, maybe on this one, if you're first starting out, anywhere from 6 to 8 on each side, 3 times through.
Also, put your head down.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes.
You think of like text neck, you think of everything that we do at sitting at a computer and all that stuff. If I had a nickel for every person that I saw doing this like this or like this, because you don't know how to put your head down. Put your head down. You will connect your brain with these muscles so much more efficiently.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Next one, let's go ahead and slide that band off. We'll stay on the table since we're here. So these next couple exercises, we won't use a band. We're not going to use a band. So I'm going to have you go into tabletop position. All right, so first one we're going to do is fire hydrant. Again, so this one's going to target that glute med muscle. We're also starting to get a little bit of core stabilization in here as well. So what Doc is going to do is he's going to go ahead and let's do your right leg.
Okay.
Go ahead and lift that
Hydrant.
and back down. So again, very minimal movement. He's not swinging his leg all the way up like a chicken wing. His back is
I don't want to fly away today.
There's always going to be a little bit.
Engagement.
There's always going to be a little bit of rotation in the back. So go ahead, go again. So there's just a very slight bit of rotation on this side of the hip, but it's not drastic to where it's tilting. So if I were to balance something on here, it's not going to fly off on the other end. Also, another thing to point out is keep your neck in line with the rest of your spine. So his chin is not tucked underneath him where his neck is dipping, and he's not looking up either. Everything is in a straight line. So we want to keep the spine in alignment there as well. Again, this is a good one to do about 8 to 10 on each side. Rest and then continue on. Next one we're going to do, let's do bird dogs. Again, so we're going to start to break into some core work here.
Okay.
So this one I'm sure people have seen before, but opposite arm, opposite leg. So when your left leg goes back, your right hand comes forward and then back down. So again, nice, slow and controlled. Find that balance. Again, his hips aren't tilting one way or the other. His neck is in line with the rest of his spine. He's slow and controlled with this movement. Again, 8 to 10 on each side, and then we switch. All right.
Okay.
Let's do one more core on the table. Go ahead and flip over on your back. This one's a dead bug. Again, this is going to be just your normal, your standard exercise. There is a regression in this. There is a progression in this as well, but we'll just do the normal. So go ahead and bend your legs up in the air 90-90.
90-90.
And then both hands are up in the air. You're going to drop your right foot and then your left hand is going to go back. So keep your foot elevated just a little bit off of the table. Yep.
Like that?
Yep.
Okay.
And then back together.
And there's a real good coordination sequence here too.
Yes. You're going to have to think when you do this one. So yeah, so stick to one side and then we'll switch and do the other side. Again, in this position, we always want to make sure our low back is in contact with the table. We don't have that arch. If you are getting that arch, again, draw your hips back, find that contact with that table. Breathing for this exercise, because so many times when I have people do this, their face starts to turn red. That means you're not breathing. So when you go back, you're taking a breath in And then when your feet and hands come back to that starting position, you're breathing out.
So because Lauren is explaining this and not coaching me right now, and I'm picking up on some of the things that I'm doing, if you're ever in this position right here, turn the ankle on, meaning pull the toes into the shin and keep that. Don't let that just dangle, okay? That's a huge thing in stability, is being able to connect your brain all the way to the tip of your toes, which means that every joint has got to be turned on right here. So I'm going to keep those pulled in right there and come back out. I'm just not going to let that flail because you want to keep that whole system on.
Right. If you can keep your toes flexed and keep everything controlled, that's also going to help maintain that flatness on your back. One more core exercise to show everyone. This next one, if you're at a gym, you can use the cables. If not, if you have some type of, do we have an example of one over here? Something like this that's got a handle on it. This will work. You can tie it to a doorknob and it'll work just the same. So let's hop back to these. It looks like these are set up back here, so we can hop up on these. So this one is a belly press. Start light and then work your way up. So go ahead and, we gotta higher that one a little bit. So in terms of positioning this is at about his hip here. So we're gonna come right into his belly button. So you're gonna take a couple steps out, get a little bit of resistance on the cable, and then go ahead and push forward here. So here we're gonna work on anti-rotationals. So with this, as he's pushing forward, this cable's trying to pull him back in, okay? But he's gonna resist that using the side of his core muscles here to push that forward, keep it in line. So you don't want that shifting, and you also don't want to, what I see a lot of people do is pull it over to the side, and now they're over here doing it. You're gonna mess up your shoulder, mess up your low back. We wanna keep everything nice in line. So you're thinking about your hands coming out from your belly button.
Another couple of really small tips, because we're not really coaching here, and I'm doing it perfectly, right? So right here, I always think that I've got a rope pulling me to the ceiling, which means that I'm going to turn on my whole frame, and we call this the athletic stance, meaning I'm going to be locked in. And the reason I say that is if Lauren's just standing there the way that she's standing there, and I push her, she's going to fall over. But if she goes into that athletic stance and that ready stance, she's locked. She's locked out. She's grounded. Okay? So I always say, and I know you're always getting those athletes into that position, it's like, get yourself locked in,
right,
out and in.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, there are a few core exercises. One more that's a good one, very easy to do at home. Do you want a pad for this one or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, get the pad. I wanted to just do a Theraball thing real quick, just as an ending.
Sure.
Okay, where do you want me with the pad?
Over here.
Over here.
Oh boy, okay. So ankle mobility here, you go on the wall. Okay. Yeah, push that in. So go ahead and kneel down.
That's right. Okay.
Toe, what do you say, about a hand or like a fist, side fist away from the wall.
Okay.
And then you're gonna go ahead and drive that knee over the toe. So what he's doing here is he's stretching his muscle, his ankles up through the back, and what we're doing is we're sliding the ankle forward to kind of open up a little bit of space. This is a good one to do, if you've been sitting all day, or even if you've been doing a lot of walking. Very good for athletes out there who are doing squats. This is a fantastic one to do, because when you go into that squat motion, if you don't have ankle mobility, that's when your knees are going to start to drag over the toes a little bit. You're going to be off balance. This is a good warm up to use before you start your squat sequence.
Pull myself out.
Yeah, that's good. Feels good, doesn't it?
It does. And so interesting, biomechanically, because I'm a biomechanic freak too, biomechanically is that when you're doing this in the ankle joint, so neurologically, this is the most stable position for the ankle joint. And so great for runners because when you, like as you said, as you're turning this on because you're sitting all day and you're not doing anything, you're going to connect everything between here and the hip doing that. So clamshells and all that, right? And then moving down to this, it's gold for the lower part of the body.
Yep, absolutely.
You know, the last thing, do you have any more?
No, that's what I wanted to go through today. So
the last thing that I want to do, because I noticed it when you had me in the tabletop position, and I also, when I see you working out here with some of the patients, what I see happening is that they really start to shift their wrists when you're doing that tabletop.
Yeah.
So 2 variations that you can do for, you can have a chair in front of you or the bench, right? And just, well, this is going to be too hard because there's no stability. But I guess it's the best is the a chair or something where you're up like this, and then you can do your hydrants like that. So
so anybody with any wrist issues, if you're having trouble standing on there,
I just don't want anybody trying this and be like, ew. And then the other one at the gym, which is real popular, right? Is that, and I'm only just saying this to give you a variation to protect your wrists.
And obviously with any of these exercises that we did on the table, you can do on the floor too. You don't necessarily have to do it on a table. It's just for eyesight and level, but yeah.
Great. Any questions?
All
right, so give those a shot. Like I said, there are regressions and progressions to these, but this is our baseline of work. And how many times a day you do this?
I mean, let's start, once, twice a day. So once in the morning and then, before you go to bed. But yeah, try to get it in every day if you can. These are great exercises. Like I said, eventually can just become your normal warm up to your gym routine, or just to get you moving. Start your movement process.
Clamshells, butterflies, push pulls.
We did fire hydrants.
Dead bug.
Yep, dead bug, bird dogs. Belly press.
And ankle mobilizers, which sometimes I hear is called ankle drivers. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll have that on a sheet. All right, thanks. We will move on.